Hola, soy yo, Vicky, del Príncipe, el Príncipe Center otra vez. Y hola, gracias por mirar mi canal. In the previous video, we looked at some of the verb tables in the Break the Language Barrier Level 2 book. We're now on page 51. If you don't have the book, don't worry. You can follow the tutorials perfectly well without the book. But what you do need to know for this particular tutorial, present tense, present perfect, preterite and imperfect. You need to have some knowledge of it. If that sounds like Chinese to you, then you need to look back through the previous videos until you get to this level, because we are practicing what we've already learned, not learning something new in this video. Okay, so in the previous video, and if you don't have the book, as I said, it doesn't matter for the tutorial, but if you would like to buy the book, you can find it on any Amazon site. Okay, so on the previous video, we looked at the first 6 verbs on the verb tables. How did you get on? I hope you got on okay. Have you been practicing them since? Because, yeah, as I explained there, repetition is the best way to learn at the end of the day, especially at the moment when we can't practice. So we're going to start with number 7, which is volver. I love this verb. I don't know why. I just like the sound of it, and it means to return or come back. Volver, and in the present tense, it's a diphthong. Do you remember diphthongs? If a diphthong is if you have no idea what a diphthong is, you need to look back through the videos. There is a tutorial on diphthongs. They only exist really in the present tense, slightly in some of the other tenses, but the main thing is the present tense, and it's where the stem of the verb changes. So this volver in the present tense, instead of being volvo, volves, etc., the O changes to UE. So we end up with vuelves for the first person. I return, I come back. Vuelvo. Then vuelves, vuelve, volvemos, volvéis, vuelven. Because we only have the diphthong in the first 3 persons, first, second, third person singular. We don't have a diphthong in the first and second person plural, and then we have the diphthong back in the third person plural. So, vuelvo, vuelves, vuelve, volvemos, volvéis, vuelven, present tense. Present perfect, it's an irregular past participle. So the present perfect is things we have done. So in Spanish, remember, we use this verb haber, to have done something. Has, ha, hemos, habéis, han. Again, if you don't know anything about the present perfect, you need to find the video on the present perfect and have a look at it. So, but the past participle, which should be volvido, because what we normally do is we take off the ending of the verb and add on either ado or ido, and this being an ER verb, we would add on ido, but we don't because it's irregular, so it becomes vuelto. He vuelto, I have returned. Vale? And then the preterite, it's regular, yay. So we end up with, the preterite will be yesterday I returned. So volví, volviste, volvió, volvimos, volvisteis, volvieron. And then the imperfect, which would be was returning or used to return, is regular. Volvía, volvías, volvía, volvíamos, volvíais, volvían. That's it. Okay, good. So so volver, only irregular in the present tense and the past participle. Okay, so then our next verb is the verb ir, to go. Ear is completely irregular in most tenses, not every single one, but it's one of those verbs that you can depend on is likely to be irregular. Present tense, completely irregular. Remember it? It's voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van. So that's completely irregular. It doesn't bear any relation really to an IR verb. Present perfect, it's regular. So if you've got your as, a, hemos, habéis, an, then to make your past participle, you take off the ending of the verb. Well, if you take off the ending of this verb, you're left with nothing. Then you add back on ido, there's your past participle. So I have gone, it would be he ido, though really we say in English, I have been, don't we? Which we shouldn't say. Like if you're saying I have been to the shops, he ido a las tiendas. Then in the preterite, it's completely irregular, and this is the verb that shares the preterite tense with the ser verb, yeah, and they both become this, what I call the F verb. So fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuisteis, fueron. And then in the imperfect, it's also irregular, and it's so this would be I used to go or I was going. The preterite would be I went. So for the imperfect, it's iba, ibas, iba, íbamos, ibais, iban. Okay, then number 9, cantar, lovely, nice, regular verb, just like hablar. So we would say present tense, I sing, you sing, etc. Cantó, cantas, canta, cantamos, cantáis, cantan. And then present perfect, I have sung or sung. I have sung in a group. I have sung in a group. We would say in Spanish, cantado. That's the past participle, regular. Take off the AR, add ado. He cantado en un grupo. And then the preterite, which it would be like yesterday I sang. So preterite, simple past tense. Canté, cantaste, cantó, cantamos, cantáis, cantasteis, gosh, I'm getting tongue-tied. I can't say, and it's not even difficult. Cantasteis, cantaron. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. It's not even a difficult one. Strange. Anyway, imperfect, yeah, was singing or used to sing. So we would say cantaba, cantabas, cantaba, cantábamos, cantabais, cantaban. Okay, then number 10, we have querer. So querer, of course, means to want, or it can mean to love as well. Present tense, it's a diphthong. The E changes to IE. So I want, you want, etc. is quiero, quieres, quiere. Then we lose the diphthong. Queremos, queréis. Back to the diphthong for the third person plural. Quieren. Present perfect, it's regular. So I have wanted. So we use the haber verb for the have bit. As, a, hemos, habéis, an. Wanted, querido. Yeah, regular. Take off the ER and add ido. And then in the imperfect, in the preterite, it's irregular. It also takes a different meaning really in the preterite, because you wouldn't ever, if you were saying I wanted, you wouldn't really use it in the preterite, you would use the imperfect. Because with verbs like desire, something you want, it's difficult to put a start and a finish, unless you're actually saying last Thursday I wanted to go to the cinema. but it gives it a slightly different meaning in Spanish. It's like something you tried to do, and in the negative, it's something you refuse to do. Anyway, so it's irregular. It takes an irregular stem. The stem is quis, Q-U-I-S. So quise, quisiste, quiso, quisimos, quisistes, quisieron. And then the imperfect, it's a regular verb, and mainly you would use this in its form of to want to do something. You would mainly use it in the imperfect. Quería, querías, quería, queríamos, queríais, querían. Then number 11, poder. Oh, poder is another verb that I really like as well. I don't know why, and it's nearly always irregular. Poder is to can or be able. So this is the verb that we talk about something we can do, we're able to do. Past tense is something we could do. Sometimes people don't think of that as a verb because in English it's what's called a modal verb. It doesn't change at all. It's not a verb that you conjugate. So I could, you could, etc. But in Spanish it is a normal verb that we conjugate as normal. So poder in the present tense is a diphthong. Puedo, puedes, puede. Then lose the diphthong. Podemos, podeis. Back to the diphthong. Pueden. Present perfect, it's regular. I have been able. So you would say he podido. Yeah, podido is the past participle. Preterite, it's completely irregular. It takes an irregular stem and it's pud. Pud is the stem. So we would say, to say I could in the preterite, you say pude, pudiste, pudo, pudimos, pudistes, pudieron. And then the imperfect at last, it is regular. So this would be, difficult. I was able to do something, or I used to be able to do something. So this is when there's no beginning or end. It's not a specific point in time. It would be podía, podías, podía, podíamos, podíais, podían. Okay, and number 12, which I think would be the last one that I'll do in this tutorial. Yeah, numero 12, number 12, tener. Tener, the verb to have, not like haber, which is to have done something. Tener is actually what we have, what we own. Okay, so we're going in the present tense. Tener is a go-go verb and a diphthong. How nice of it. But this is just, again, such an important verb. I mean, you can't, if you try to have a conversation without using the verb to have, the verb to have, the verb to go, the verb to be, if you remove those three verbs, that where you were like every time you said it, you would be just going all the time, because these are the, such common verbs that we use. So very important to learn them, and just keep practicing them until you've got them right up here. So tengo, I have. Tienes, tiene. Then losing the diphthong, tenemos, tenéis. Back to the diphthong, tienen, for they have. Present perfect, it's regular, so I have had will be he tenido, yeah? And then the preterite, again, irregular, so it's tuve, tuviste, tuvo, because it's tuv, tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvistes, tuvieron. And then the imperfect is regular. So this would be was having or used to have, whereas the preterite is had, I had. So tenía, tenías, tenía, teníamos, teníais, tenían. Okay, good. So that's your next 6 to practice. As I said in the if you do have the book, try not to write in the thing so that you can do them over and over again. Do them in your pads until you can just keep doing them until you can literally just write them out without even having to think about it. That's the only way to get them to stick up here. Or write sentences, make questions. If you're lucky enough to know anybody else who's learning Spanish, you know, try and maybe do a bit of practice with them. Okay, well, thanks very much for watching. If you found the video useful, please give me the thumbs up. And if you feel like subscribing to receive notification of further videos, if you haven't already, please press the subscribe button. If you've only just joined the channel, or if you know, there's quite a lot of videos on there now for you to have a look. If there's any that you've not seen that you think might find useful, please do. You might notice, and I'm sure you have noticed, that I am doing videos for learning English now as well. So if you know anybody who is trying to learn English with explanations in Spanish, then those please let them know, and maybe they'll find those videos useful. Yeah, again, and if you would like to do some Skype classes, well, we're not able to do face-to-face classes. The Skype classes are €15 an hour at the moment, so a course of 10 one-hour private classes by Skype is €150, and you can book in on the website if you're interested in doing that. Any other queries, doubts about Spanish, let me know, and bueno, I'll see you in the next video. So quédate en casa, stay safe, y nos vemos en el próximo video. Vale, gracias. Adiós.